Hello and welcome to the King's Forum podcast show. I have a very special guest with us today, Lissette. Hi, Lissette.
Hi, nice to meet you. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. So Lisette's basically going to be talking about her journey with multiple sclerosis and, the challenges she's had and, through Ironman, half marathons and being diagnosed and, your day-to-day how you go about your life and things like that, and just to spread awareness. So it was great for you to come and actually accept my invitation, so I appreciate that.
Thank you. It's an honor, and thank you for doing all these wonderful things that you do.
You're welcome. So Lissette, could you talk about MS? What is MS?
MS, also known as multiple sclerosis, is when the protective sheet that we have in our system eats away itself. So basically, it just deteriorates, causing lesions both in the brain and spinal cord. In order for it to be detected, you take several tests. So you have to have an MRI and also possibly a spinal tap, and they check for your vitamin D deficiencies. And it goes to multiple sclerosis. So depending on where the scars are and the damage that is produced in your body, depends on the symptoms. So everyone with multiple sclerosis has different symptoms. So it's considered a snowflake disease. So it's just a challenge. You just feel things differently throughout your body. Some are visible, but most are invisible symptoms. So you don't usually see a person going through the symptoms they are going through.
Cool. So when were you diagnosed?
I was diagnosed in 2013. I was told that I had it for quite a while. So what happened was that I lost my vision on my left eye, and everything felt like it made more sense. So it takes a while to diagnose when you're trying to find a reason why the way you feel.
Yeah.
So I was in college and I lost my vision, and that's basically what happened. Optic neuritis is a common symptom with multiple sclerosis.
Cool. So how does it affect your day-to-day?
So heat, humidity, and stress are factors that cause you to have your symptoms exacerbated. So it just depends. It's like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're gonna get during the day. So you feel symptoms throughout the day. That's RRMS, relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis. And some are manageable. So it just depends on like the day, or if you've heard about the spoon theory, how much energy you have exerted during the day. So it could go from my regular daily activities where I feel pins and needles or numbness in the legs. The way I think doesn't correlate all the time. So I don't, I think of certain words and it comes out different. It's difficult. You have fatigue, insomnia, and it just goes in and out throughout the day where you feel different things throughout your body. So it just depends on the day of how I feel and what happens and what's going on. So for example, like today I'll be going hiking, and the usual symptoms, if I push myself too much, is I have tunnel view, and I hear ringing in the ear, and I just feel numbness all the way to my waist. And it's not that difficult, but it's challenging.
Yeah. But you keep on smiling and you keep on.
Yes.
That's great. So how has this impacted your career aspirations?
So I started studying during my diagnosis to be a chef. And like I mentioned, heat, humidity, and stress causes your symptoms. So at times when I worked at the kitchen, I would feel everything. So it does affect it. I know a lot of people that do manage it, So it did affect it to the point where I put my health first, and I stopped working in restaurants and started putting my health first in order to figure out what's best for me. So
Yeah.
at this moment, it has affected my journey with my career.
So what are you thinking about? Just it kind of looking at how you manage your health, and then maybe looking at becoming a chef later on down the line, or?
Correct. Balancing my life at this moment, seeing what works best for me, whether it's with food, with exercise, and finding something that is going to work. I do want to go back to the food industry, but I want to find what's going to be best for my body.
Definitely. You know, you have to start there. Without your health, you can't do much, can you? So you need to focus on that and then look to your career after. So
That's correct.
how has MS impacted your family and kind of the dynamics there?
It's difficult. I think your family always has the best intentions, but it's hard for them to see you like that. I do believe for a while as a teenager, my parents kept looking for answers and taking me to the doctor, knowing that something wasn't right. I think the first years of having multiple sclerosis, I was unable to like dress myself sometimes or walk correctly. And I could see my parents being hit by that. My first form of treatment was Copaxone, which requires you to self-inject yourself. And I was unable to do that. So I needed someone to do that for me. And seeing my family do that really hurt them. They had to kind of walk away from it, or I would feel their pain. I think it's easier for someone, in my opinion, to deal with the autoimmune disease than the family, because they have a harder time to understand. And I think it impacted them really hard because they want their girl to be good, to feel good. And it's hard for them to understand why it is the way it is.
Yeah, that whole thing, unless you're going through it yourself, do you really understand and you know, appreciate what you're going through on a day-to-day basis? I hear you. So do you have generally a good support network?
I do. I really love my family, my friends, and I feel like they're very understanding. I think in general, when someone goes through something or gets diagnosed, you realize who your family and friends are and how they support you. Recently, starting in 2020, I made a Instagram, where you found me, and it's MS Ironman. And it's based on that. And I was able to find a different type of family and community where we all connect and we support each other and see how we all deal with it differently. And it's very inspiring. And I'm really happy that I was able to find that network. So yes, I do feel like I have a good support system.
Yeah, that's great. So you don't feel alone.
Mm-hmm.
So you talked about medications. What medications are you taking at the moment?
Right now I'm taking Tysabri, which you take once a month. It's an infusion. It's considered a DMT, and it's supposed to just slow down the progression of the disease. So basically, it just comes with an infusion in the hospital. You wait a little bit, and for a couple of days, it's an autoimmune suppressive. So sometimes you'll have different types of symptoms that come with it, but it's supposed to decrease your chances of progression or even the possibility of helping your MS. It doesn't make you feel better, but it assists you.
Does the medication have side effects?
It does. It comes like different things where you feel tired, you could get UTIs, your blood counts could lower. One of the scary ones is PML. I can't pronounce it, but basically it's a form of meningitis. So there is a high risk if you have the JC virus that they have to check continuously. And it has the ability to permanently disable you or even kill you. However, it has better benefits when you take it, but it could have rashes, nausea, diarrhea, vaginitis, just different things that come with it. But most of the time, it's mild symptoms that come with like medications. Mm-hmm.
So tell me about your mental health. How was having MS affected your mental health?
It does affect it. I think in the beginning it was more severe because I didn't know much about it, and the people that I knew that had multiple sclerosis were disabled, were in wheelchairs, and when you research it, it just brings this heavy weight on your chest, and you can't help but think like the worst at the beginning instead of like, okay, what are we going to do about it? However, I do see myself as a very happy person. I always find solutions. So once I started feeling like I was deteriorating, I was telling myself like, what am I going to do about it? You can't always put yourself feeling sorry for yourself or feeling sad, because that's not going to do anything for you other than make it worse. So there are days where it's completely fine and it's human to feel like it's difficult, to feel sad about it. But I feel like most of the time it has helped me to push myself to become a better person for myself, and motivated me to prove myself wrong and do things that I thought I couldn't do or was told I wouldn't do. And I think it has more of a positive impact than a negative impact because I have an answer to it and I have a name to it.
No, I hear that. I hear that. So do you get much time for self-care and self-love?
Yes. Yes, that is my main priority. Once I started noticing that you start taking care of yourself, your health does come first. It makes a huge difference. I currently live in a national park, so I feel like that's my form of self-care, is connecting with nature and taking time to myself, which is very important. And I see a lot of benefits that come with it.
So talk about this half marathon you completed.
So this half marathon was actually dedicated to my cousin. She just recently got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And I have a lot of love for her and connection with her. And I saw her going into this dark place that I don't want anyone to experience. And before that, I would always find reasons to move, to run, but I've never done far distances. So I decided to, we had watches connected to each other, and I would start running and she would get notifications. And I was just showing her that you could still move, that you could still do and continue doing what you love, whether it's running, whether it's she does jewelry and art. And I dedicate that to her. Everything now, we try to connect at least once a week or as much as possible. And I want to show her, and I showed her that you could do anything you put your mind into. After the half marathon, I did a marathon, which was completely different and more challenging. And it was more to prove myself that I could continue moving. And that's what led to the Ironman as well.
Yeah. Talk a bit about Ironman.
Yes, so the Ironman, it is swimming, biking, and running. So it's 2.7 swimming, 112 miles cycling, and a marathon running. Which is, yes, it's terrifying at the same time. But that's why it's called the Ironman. It's putting yourself forth and putting that challenge. And I feel like it's more mental than physical. Yes.
I'm sure. It's just if you can keep on going, it's kind of that, because it is taking on your body, but the mind is kind of like mind over matter type thing.
Exactly. I want to push myself to do something extraordinary, and it's something I've always wanted to do, but didn't believe in myself enough to actually do it. And then one day I was just staring at the website and I went for it. I just decided to immerse myself into the dreams I want to complete.
Oh, that's great. Talk about the physical impact of these things, like a half marathon on your body, because I'm sure
It has a lot. When I did when I did the half marathon, I did a hike before, and then I did the half marathon and I crashed, but not as hard as the marathon. When it came to the marathon, I completely lost sensation of my legs. It was actually one of the scariest things because I thought I wasn't going to move anymore. So as soon as I was done, I was unable to walk correctly anymore. I was slurring my words. We have a visitor here. I was slurring my words, tremoring. I did not feel like myself, or I felt incapable of doing things, and I had to continue practicing during that week in order to gain my movement and my words back back to its originality. So while I'm running, I don't feel my legs. I feel very numb. At a point of the marathon, I lost my vision, and it was mind over matter of like, keep going. You're adding stress to your body, but it's not gonna initially make it worse. It's just my symptoms getting stronger. And yeah, it's challenging. I feel scared to do the Ironman when it comes to the symptoms, but I put myself in situations of how I'm going to do it. So when I cycle indoors in a trainer, I crank up the heat and I put myself in a situation where my symptoms are going to be noticeable, and I try to see like how I'm going to complete the race and how I'm going to deal with my symptoms and what I need to do to de-stress myself, or the solution to my symptom to complete the race.
Wow, that sounds amazing. You know, talk about your fundraising, MS for MS.
So I'm partnered up. They didn't ask me. I think the journey of the Ironman, I wanted to include fundraising for MS for MS and MSAA, which are two wonderful organizations that help with the research of multiple sclerosis and those in need. And it's also connecting with people in the community of multiple sclerosis and having the ability to make a difference. Both organizations are really amazing. One is based on stadiums and movement. They have a great website if you go check out their website. And they have amazing stories with other people that live with multiple sclerosis, as well as MSAA, as Multiple Sclerosis Association of America. And they have great connections. When I got diagnosed, they're one of the ones that helped me. They even like provided a cooling vest when I couldn't afford one. But they also do amazing things where people with disabilities, like if you can't hold your utensils, they have utensils that have weights on them and you're able to like pick it up, or even wheelchairs. And they have great nursing connections and provide more research for multiple sclerosis and its cure and treatment. So I think both organizations are very amazing, and I wanted to dedicate my training to both fundraising for both organizations and connecting with the community and informing them more.
That's amazing. I think you're doing great work, and I think you're a huge inspiration.
Thank you.
Social platforms you're on that people could find you on?
So Miss Period Ironman is one of them, and that's where I'm documenting my multiple sclerosis and Ironman journey, as well as the fundraising. I'm doing little projects where I connect with the community and talk about them, since everyone with multiple sclerosis is different. And other way is email. So if you go to my link there in Instagram, there's different ways that you could connect with me. I also have a YouTube, and I've been doing community projects where I show the strength and the side, both good and bad, with multiple sclerosis.
Cool. Thank you very much, Lissette. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Pleasure having you on the show.
It's a pleasure to meet you, and thank you for everything that you do.
You're welcome. Thanks a lot. See you later. Bye-bye.
Have a wonderful time.